at 10:01 a.m. Would you please call the roll, Pam?
Markham, Commissioners Markham,
Here.
Middleton,
Tom, you're on, okay.
Here.
Gershenson. Commissioner Gershenson, are you present?
Employees, 5,000 plus, being able to work back in the building together. Is that going to happen anytime soon?
Someone's gonna turn that off.
I think that Commissioner Gershenson's frozen.
Okay, we'll go back to her. Commissioner McGillivray,
Here.
Not everybody's going to be at the same place. I think it's going to be very.
Quarles, Commissioner Quarles,
Here.
Commissioner Powell,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Koa,
Here.
Zach.
Here.
We have a quorum.
That's great. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all. Thank you. I need an approval of the minutes. Commissioner Markham with Commissioner Quarrel. Wait. Yes, Pam?
There are no minutes to approve at this time.
Okay. Thank you. I don't need that. Okay. I need an approval of the agenda, please.
Move it.
Commissioner Powell with Commissioner Long supporting. Any questions? First of all, I want to say,
You got
Yes.
okay. The agenda I have has water resources added, but the agenda you have already has it added. Okay.
yeah. So I do want to apologize about the last minute addition. I know that many of you did receive calls. I am very cautious about timing of getting materials, and this was an oversight by the staff, so I apologize. It is something that we need to look at. It's nothing unusual, so we are trying. We need to be patient. It is hard to do long distance remote work for our staff too. Okay. Any questions about the amended agenda that we got later? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Do I have any public comment?
Good morning. Currently, there's no public comment signed in and there are no email submissions.
Thank you, Andrea. With seeing no public comment, I'm going to close public comment. How about communications? I need a motion to receive and file.
So moved, Cole.
And seconded by Quarles. Are there any questions about the communications?
Yes, Middleton.
Okay,
I see item B is in black with a COVID update, but it's not even in blue where I can research that. What's that mean?
Hey, Tom, are you on your agenda or the packet? Make sure you're on where you can open them up.
I'm on the packet that came yesterday,
Oh,
and I have, everything else is in blue where I can get detail, but on item B, it just says COVID update. Is that
see,
wrong?
mine's in blue.
There's a PowerPoint on page 16.
Okay. Okay, but I can't just hit on it and it won't go to it. Because
Are
it's in
you-
black rather than blue.
are you in the packet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's yesterday's packet.
Mine is blue.
So
Is
Tom,
everyone else's blue? Mine is blue.
Tom, do you need to have that in front of you to approve it? It is
No.
available. The rest of us have it.
Okay, I just have to find out why I don't have it. I'm fine with it. If it's on page 16, I can look at it there.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Any other questions about the communications? Seeing none, let's call the roll. Wait, I'm sorry. I forgot to ask we have a motion. Okay, let's call the roll.
For communications, usually voice vote.
Oh, it is? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Now we move on to the regular agenda. Central Services, Aviation Division, Airport Land Lease Addendum, and Consent to Assignment, Tenneco Inc. and BVP Partners LLC. And do I have
I'll
Cheryl
move it.
Bush? Okay, I
Morning.
move McGilvray with support by Long. And do I have Cheryl Bush?
Yes.
Hi, Cheryl, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes, this morning we have an airport land lease addendum and a consent to assignment from the Tenneco Corporation, who is unfortunately closing their flight department, selling their aircraft. And they are selling to a BVI Partners, who has been a tenant of theirs. So they're a longstanding, familiar company with us and private family organization. And the lease having just been renewed last April for 20 years, it will be assigned, and the update addendum is relative to the security deposit. So we're made whole with security deposit, and BVI Partners will continue in that hangar for hopefully the next 19 years.
Do I have any questions about this? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 1, Commissioners Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes,
Gershenson, and item number 1.
I don't know if she's frozen.
Commissioner
I
McGilvray,
think so.
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Howell, Long,
Yeah,
Gershenson. Commissioner Gershenson for number 1. Commissioner Cowell,
Yes.
and, we lost her. Commissioner
No,
Zach,
I turned off her
Yes.
webcam. I turned off her webcam to see if it would have her
Oh, okay.
audio work.
Commissioner Gershenson, can you hear me?
While we're doing this, I cannot see Commissioner Colwell. Do you have your camera on?
I think it's because she's using her iPad.
Okay.
There she is.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, are we resolving the Commissioner Gershenson issue right now? I see that she's arrived.
if it's her internet, that's what I do. Just don't do the camera, tell her. Try to come on with just speaker, like Chris said. That works for me when my internets get slow like that.
I'm on my desktop now. My county laptop wasn't working, so I'm fine. I'm back. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yes, on
Great,
number
well, glad to have you back. Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
Madam Chair, I need to leave the meeting to attend a different meeting, but I wanted to make sure and be here for the airport vote. So, bye, everybody, and have a good meeting. Thanks.
Thank you for attending some. I appreciate it. Okay, so motion carries. Back to the agenda, which is item number 2, information technology temporary policy amendment to the comprehensive IT service agreements. I need a motion to approve it. Angie Powell with a Marcia Gershenson supporting it. And thank you. Mike Tim is here to tell us about it.
Good morning, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So we have 2 IT service agreement amendments in front of you this morning. The first amendment is really in response to the coronavirus. As part of the executive order, we decided to implement a suspension of fees for online payments. So we have a couple hundred entities, both CVTs within the county as well as outside the county, who pay credit card fees, and they do that through Oakland County IT for online services. And we have IT service agreements in place to govern that contractual arrangement between those entities. So with the coronavirus, we decided to reduce those fees for online payments to provide an incentive for customers to stay out of the office, if you will, to not visit the city, village, township office, but to do their payments, to do those online. So that has a budget impact to IT of approximately $150,000. And that is in the budget amendment section of this first resolution. The other part of the resolution is basically the board approves the language of IT service agreements. And that is a longstanding historical practice for these contracts. The chairman of the board actually signs all of these contracts as we execute them. And anyway, this particular amendment is basically to allow us to amend the agreements for a period of initially March 25th through April 30th, with up to a 60-day extension to the end of June, if needed, through the executive order from County Executive Coulter. So that's the purpose of this first amendment, is really just to allow us to waive the fees that are charged to customers for online payments. And that requires contract amendments with the CVTs that opted into that service.
Do I have any questions? Commissioner Quarles? No, I just saw your hand going up. Okay. Do I have any questions? I do have a question, Mike. So is this funding that would be eligible under some of our emergency funding, our CARES, or some other funding that we might be getting?
Well, we are working with fiscal to make sure, 1, that we track all of it, and 2, that if it meets eligibility requirements, it would be submitted. I don't have the answer specifically yet as to whether or not it will be eligible.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 2, Commissioners Middleton,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Cowell,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and carry of 8 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, information technology EAF fee waiver amendment for out-of-county IT services agreement. Mike Tim.
Thank you, Commissioners.
First of all, I'm sorry. I need
Oh,
a
yes.
motion.
I'll move it. Tom will
Okay,
move.
Commissioner Middleton and support.
Support Cowell.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. So this one is really part of the previous one, but what makes it a little unique is we are going to bill back. These are for 6 out of Oakland County entities. You'll recognize Allen Park and Battle Creek, for example, the county of Grand Traverse. So they're outside of Oakland County. And we did provide them the opportunity to also waive fees for their citizens and constituents. But we're also going to be billing them back for just the costs of the credit card fees that we will still incur from our credit card processors. So it does also require a specific contract amendment for these out-of-county providers that will allow us, normally we share revenue with them. That's the enhanced access fees. We share that with them. That's part of our current contract with these entities. And now we're amending that for this period of the coronavirus EAF fee waiver. We will then bill them back for the direct charges that we receive from the credit card companies. So it's getting the board's approval to then have those entities also approve the contract amendment to bill them for those charges.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I have a question. Seeing, are these services that we provide, are they cost neutral? Does it
No.
cost us money to work with these cities? Do we, obviously on the fees, enhanced fees, we get a little bit, but does it cost us money to do these services? Do we make money? What's the value to us?
So it is generally cost neutral. I mean, there's a significant amount of IT infrastructure that we cover with these fees, which includes not only the hardware, but also the programmers. But this is a function that within the county, it started within the county as charges that our CVTs would be paying somebody to handle online transactions. And Oakland County IT started doing this about 15 years ago for things within the Oakland County government, and then expanded it to the CVTs, and now have expanded it outside of the county. And it really provides a good use of the infrastructure that we built in order to provide our citizens and CVTs cost reduction from what they would be paying an outside provider. But it is neutral to
Let me
the county
rephrase
government.
that. It's absolutely a critical, wonderful service that we provide this to our Oakland County CVTs, that we have the expertise. I'm not questioning that, but this second contract, we're moving out of Oakland County and offering it to other entities, okay?
Right, right.
So that's the group that I'm questioning. Does it make sense for us to be offering this service outside of our county? Is it cost neutral? Does it, or are we spending money? What's the value in it?
Yes, overall, it is cost neutral to the county to provide these services really to any entity.
Okay, thank you. That's what I
Yep.
wanted to know. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
And item number 3, Commissioners Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Howell? Howell, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Long? Long?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, for long.
Okay, thank you. Coel,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Zach?
Yes,
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you,
Item number-
Commissioner.
Thank you for coming. Item number 4, Facilities Planning and Engineering Clerk Register of Deeds, South Oakland Office Building Satellite Office Project. I need a motion. Commissioner McGillivray with Commissioner Gershenson supporting. And do I have Art Holdsworth or Ed Josh here to talk about it?
This is Art Holdsworth. Can you hear me okay, Elaine?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Good. the clerk's office right now, the only one in the county, of course, is the one here in the courthouse. We had a request a few months ago from Lisa to look into putting a satellite office down in the South Oakland office building, which is in Troy on Crooks. The population density of the county, of course, increases as you go towards the southeast corner. So this would allow people to travel a shorter distance, to receive their service.
We're losing you, Art.
Also decrease the volume of people coming up to the main courthouse. So Ed Joss and Jason Warner, research would be needed.
So we're losing chunks of what you're saying. Did we lose you? Okay, hopefully we'll get him back on. Are there questions for Art?
I do.
Yes, okay, Art. Okay, Commissioner Long, let's see if we can get him back on. Does anybody have access to Mr. Holdsworth?
Well, my question, if you can hear me only, or maybe Chris Ward, is this temporary, just for the coronavirus, or is this for permanent?
I think we have our county clerk on the line too, perhaps on this item.
Okay, I've got Lisa on the phone, so I'm going to recognize you, Lisa.
Man.
Our Clerk Brown, you texted me that you are here. Are you on this call? Yes, you're on. Can you speak up? Clerk Brown?
I need to unmute.
Okay, thank you.
Is it,
All right.
Chris
I
Ward,
lost
does it
the,
say resolution?
Okay,
I can't see
so
where it says if it's permanent or not.
do we have Lisa, our Clerk Brown on the call? She says that she's available, but
Let me try to read this better and see if it says.
Maybe if
I
we,
lost my audio there for a moment, Helene, but I'm back on.
oh, good. So the question from Commissioner Long. Oh, wait a second. Hello, this is Clerk Brown. Do you want,
It's 49,000.
okay, so Clerk Brown is being muted. Can you hear, if I put her on my cell phone, can you hear this?
she would just need to unmute herself on her end.
You need to unmute from your end. She did. Okay. I'm going to try this from my cell phone, okay? Can you hear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I can hear her. Do you want me to ask her, Helene? Lisa, is this just temporary or going to be permanent on that end of the county?
This is going to be permanent. So this is something that I've actually been working on for a while. We then tabled it. It was actually supposed to come before you in March. And then, of course, COVID happened. So we tabled it. But now when we are looking at how we physically distance our staff, but also accommodate our customers, because we're going to be moving to appointment when we start opening up. But we'll be limited as to how many appointments, obviously, we can have at one time and how many staff I can have, because my staff sit close together at that counter in Vitals. And so this would allow more of my staff to accommodate our customers by having more clients now, more customers by appointment, and having more people working at a different location so that we're spread apart. but this was something that I have been working on for a while.
Okay,
I will tell
so
you
it was
when I
something you wanted, it was something
local
before the
office,
coronavirus that you were going to do. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and
Sorry.
I think we have Ed Joss and Art Holdsworth. Ed, can you hear us now?
Okay, thank you.
I-
Lisa, I'm
yeah,
gonna put you on mute right now if we need you, okay?
And, okay,
Yes, Chris,
Art?
if you can hear me, I've been able to hear you all along, but I wasn't
Okay.
able to be heard. So if you can hear me now, thank you for correcting that.
okay. Ed and Art, I think, can probably respond now as well.
Are there other questions? So from a COVID standpoint, it makes more sense more than ever to have these services to space out business that we're doing. Are there other questions here? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 4, Commissioner McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes,
Koa,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes,
Gershenson,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes,
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Question.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chair Zach. Chair
Yes.
Zach, I have a question. It's 5 and then it's supposed to be 6 on the agenda for the tax foreclosure question?
So yes, that is item number 6,
Okay.
but we had trouble entering the number when we added that.
Okay,
It was
thank you.
a logistics issue. It was asked earlier, so. Okay, item number 5, WRC OMID Drainage District Full Faith and Credit Resolution. This is report to the board. We have Sid Lockhart and others who want to sign on. I know that Sid was on earlier. I need a motion. I need a motion from somebody.
but Tom,
Commissioner Powell with Commissioner Gershenson supporting. Welcome, Sid.
Good morning, good morning, Commissioners. This is the culmination of a few years of negotiation with Great Lakes Water Authority. If you recall, OMID is comprised of 24 communities of the Oakland County's Clinton-Oakland system, as well as the Macomb Interceptor Drainage District, and takes flow from 800,000 people. Prior, we had done work in OMID, which is up in Macomb County, and it connects into Oakland County over by Yates Cider Mill, the county border. And that system was rehabbed over a period of 8 years. If you recall the Fraser sinkhole, our rehabilitation efforts avoided something like that in the OMID system. But now it terminates at a pump station in Wayne County called Northeast Pump Station. And then there's 7 miles of pipe downstream of that pump station. And those facilities were charged 100% to the OMID system that then went back to 2 counties. And through some negotiations prior with DWSD and then with Great Lakes Water Authority, here recently in the last couple of years, we were being charged $10.5 million for those facilities. And they were in dire need of repairs. They're constructed in the late 60s, early 70s. The pump station is 100 feet deep, has pumps that are 2,000 horsepower. And then it pumps out to the next 7 miles of pipe downstream. It's 70-foot diameter pipe, very large pipe, and it's about 60 feet deep there. The system is in need of dire repairs. There's electrical components that are no longer manufactured. You can't get parts for it. When it breaks down, they try to find parts on eBay and try to piece it together. And so we're asking for today is a full faith and credit pledge. Macomb County has, I think, already done their side of this thing of the roughly $33 million, but that'll allow us then to do the roughly $100 million of the work that's needed to upgrade this facility. The good news is, at the savings going forward, we're now paying $1.3 million to Great Lakes Water Authority, not $10.5 million. So that difference in the savings will be pretty much a net zero increase to our communities. And this is factored in the rates for this upcoming year, the sewer rates that pays for these funds and financing. And the only rate that's being passed on to the customers as an increase is a rate from Great Lakes Water Authority, and nothing on behalf of OMID. And then that goes to Clinton, Oakland, and then to the Macomb Interceptor Drain Districts, and then on to the customers that then put this in their sewer bill. We are offering again for some of the communities to prepay, as we do with all our bond issues. So those who choose to be in the financing can, those who want to opt out can opt out. Also forgot to mention, sorry, I do have John Axe, Joe Claney, our bond counsel, and Steve Burke, our financial advisor, on the phone if there's any questions. And it's a good deal all the way around, and we're got design ongoing, and we're pretty much poised to hit the ground running with repairs here soon.
Well, Helene, you gotta unmute.
Commissioner Middleton and then Commissioner Kowal following.
Sid, didn't we do something with that pump station a couple years ago, or was that just a bonding issue?
Yeah, we did a bonding. In order to solidify the negotiation, we had to pay them some money to get it off their books. The way they finance their debt at Great Lakes Water Authority, it's kind of like getting a credit card loan and never paying it off. If you're in the mix of their bond, whatever you have your piece of the pie, and then you pay forever on what they bond in totality. They do like a kind of like a debt like consumers or DTE would do, a regulatory debt, the way they issue it. It's very complex. So when we paid this $12 million, it took it off the books, and then our debt will be issued for like 20 years. Was paid off, it's done. So that kind of cleared it with us. So that's what you recall was prior, we had a bond issue for $12 million and that money went to them, and then they cleared it for us to get it out of their kind of red tape.
Okay, thank you.
Joe Kalani, Commissioner Middleton, what Sid is referring to is the acquisition, part of the cost of the overall project was acquisition rights to undertake the capital improvements of the Northeast Pump Station and NIEA, which all 23 communities that Sid referenced that are in Oakland and Macomb counties are 100% responsible for. So there was a certain amount of negotiations over those acquisition rights that pertain to that constituted capital at the time, and that was the first series. So when we came to you back in, I want to say September, October, for that first series bond issues, that was the first phase. This is the next phase, which is dealing more with the design and capital improvements.
Thank you.
And the negotiations, what we pay for the 1.3 million we're paying currently is operations. We try to get the whole enchilada, and they didn't want to split operations because they said it's critical to the plant because they can adjust the flow at this pump station. It's the only thing they have. They can do that. Everything else flows by gravity. This they can kind of turn off and regulate flow to the plant. And so that gave us the right to do the capital improvements and the maintenance. So the big thing we save is the annual maintenance, and then bonding at a cheaper rate and just doing the projects a lot faster than they can do it down there. And Commissioner Zach, if you remember, OMID is the Intercounty Drainage Board that can comprise of Chairman Mike Gregg from State of Michigan Ag Department, and then we have Candace Miller from Macomb and Commissioner Jim Nash on our side, and then we had the community's petition to take on this project from Macomb and Oakland. And then we had an augmented drainage board to start that off. And then we had Commissioner Zach, Commissioner Woodward. Then we had their corresponding partners from Macomb that started this whole process back a few months ago with the Intercounty Drain Board through the Chapter 21 Drain Code.
Yes, we had Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Kleinfeld from Macomb were at the meeting with us. I have Commissioner, are you through, Commissioner Middleton, with your questions?
Yes, thank you.
I have Commissioner Kowal next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to ask what the current interest rates are on these full faith and credit bonds. And I guess, does it ever actually get up to 6% return, and what kind of economic conditions would exist for it to get up to 6%?
If Steve Burke is on the phone, I think he can tell you what he's selling currently out of similar bond issues.
Hi, good morning. This is Steve Burke. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very good. So if we were to sell these today, we would be looking at something around 2.5%. The 6% is a maximum rate, and would not expect under any conditions currently to reach that rate. Given current market conditions, things would have to change drastically to get there.
Okay, thank you. I just was curious. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question about going to market. When are we going to do that? And what's happening in the bond market right now?
We're targeting
Looking
a
at go-
July to August sale. Current market conditions have improved due to COVID. Things in the municipal market did freeze up for a couple of weeks. Federal Reserve has implemented new policies to buy municipal debt directly, both short-term and long-term, which has helped heal the market. Right now, there's quite a bit of supply, both in the municipal market and other markets that's coming currently, just due to having a couple of weeks or really the last month of no issues. And so as that supply starts to clear over the next 60 days, we think that July, August, depending on market conditions, should be at least a reasonable time to target for a sale. And we will be nimble in determining if we need to delay that based on market conditions.
Thank you. I know that was very volatile several weeks ago, so I appreciate that. I'm glad we're stabilizing. Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll, please.
On item number 5, Commissioners Quarles,
Yes.
Powell, Commissioners Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Item number 6 right now.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm gonna get back to my agenda. Hold on, forgive me, I pushed. Okay, it is the treasurer information and hold on, I pushed, okay, let me return to my agenda, forgive me. Okay. Item number 6, and there isn't a number, we couldn't put it in, tax foreclosure question and fiscal impact. And this is for information and discussion, and welcome Treasurer Meisner to our first virtual finance meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the members of the committee for having me.
So I added this, I read something in the newspaper about the fact that we have suspended tax foreclosures, which I do support the idea during COVID, but
Thank you.
didn't know much about it. And I didn't know whether we, the legislative authority, were the ones that were supposed to set policy. And so it was requested by our fiscal analyst, Mike Andrews. We discussed it. We have a corporation counsel opinion about who has the authority. And I thought that it was important for the whole finance committee to understand what we're doing and also look at the fiscal impact as we start moving into the budget, process. So I know that we did, we had during another downturn, 2008 through 11, we had a lot of foreclosures, and we certainly don't want those right now, but just understanding how are we managing that these days. So Treasurer Meisner, or you want to speak about this policy and what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to. And I'm also happy to be joined by my Chief Deputy Treasurer, Jody Weissler Defoe. And I think my Deputy Ross Gavin is maybe on one of those Brady Bunch blocks that I'm looking at here. But no, I do appreciate it. And Madam Chair, it's my belief that a combination of the law, the courts, and common sense dictate that we acknowledge the global pandemic that we're in, and that at a time when I think 1.5 million Michigan residents have applied for unemployment, The hallmark of the withholding policy under the state law in Michigan speaks to the presence of a financial hardship. I'm confident that every one of the members of the Finance Committee, as well as all of our colleagues in county government, would agree that there is a great financial hardship that is being experienced right now across not only Oakland County, but certainly the state and the country. Mass unemployment, grave concern around the coronavirus crisis. And so being familiar with my statutory authority under the law and having been county treasurer for 10 years, I thought that it was important to do anything that we could to assist our constituents in getting through this tough time. And just to help the members of the Finance Committee really internalize the way that this affects their districts, I'm going to quickly, if I may, just read the numbers of folks that are withheld under this policy in each of your commission districts. Madam Chair, starting with your district, you have 496 families within your commission district who are experiencing a hardship, had delinquent taxes, could have otherwise been tax foreclosed, but as a result of this policy and of my broader policy of promoting foreclosure prevention through payment plans and other means, will not be foreclosed this year. Commissioner Middleton, 117 properties. Commissioner Gershenson, 102. Commissioner McGilvery, 81. Commissioner Powell, in our county seat of Pontiac, which has been far too neglected, there are 730 families that will not be foreclosed because of this policy. Commissioner Quarles, 307. Commissioner Kowal, 138. And Commissioner Long, 54. Now, when I initiated this policy, it was something that was followed by some other county treasurers around the state, including my colleague in Wayne County, Eric Sabri, and Treasurer Cherry in Genesee County, among others. As the Corporation Council memo clearly describes, my role as the foreclosing governmental unit gives me the authority to determine when a hardship is present. But our system involves judicial review, and the state law requires that a judge of the circuit court be a second set of eyes overlooking our process, which we appreciate because this is serious business, and I'm a full believer in openness and transparency. In this case, Judge Langford Morris did enter a motion concurring with our recommendation to withhold most properties, certainly every property and home affected by this situation. Now, with regard to the question of fiscal impact to the general fund, there is no fiscal impact to the general fund. And as treasurer for 10 years, I think you know that our office has always done our part to promote the health and well-being of the general fund and of our overall fiscal health. The money that would be collected goes into something called the Delinquent Tax Revolving Fund. That's the fund that we use to make all of your local governments and ours collectively whole when they report property tax delinquencies. It allows them to maintain their cash flow so they can pay for their local police and fire, first response, senior programming without interruption. The proceeds of payments that are made go into that delinquent tax revolving fund, which has no impact on the general fund, except that when there is a surplus and I declare a surplus, that money goes to the general fund. And I'm sure that the members of the Finance Committee understand the enormous role that the delinquent tax fund has played over the last 10 years in subsidizing the general fund, particularly at times of crisis. And so there is no impact on the general fund. This is the right thing to do. It's what's best for our constituents. And one of the lessons that we learned going through the foreclosure crisis and the Great Recession is that if we had had the opportunity to short circuit some of these foreclosures, most of them were mortgage foreclosures at that time, but had we had the opportunity to mitigate any of the foreclosures, then what we would have learned from that situation, and what I've learned, is that short circuiting some of those tax foreclosures would have resulted in far less ripple effect in the overall number of foreclosures, impacts on property tax, taxable value, and those are things that do affect the general fund, including the collection of property taxes, which accounts for over 50% of the county's budget. So with that, as ever, I greatly appreciate the opportunity for collaboration with the Finance Committee and with my friends on the County Commission. I'm happy to address any questions about this, and I hope that this presentation has helped to just get everybody on the same page about the relative powers of the Treasurer's Office under the statute, under the law, and my sincere belief that common sense dictate that we not be pushing folks to pay property taxes right now when they are literally fighting for their lives. I will say just in closing that I think that the policy of the board of stopping the online credit card fees is a great policy. We think it's a very important consideration for our taxpayers who, because the lobby is closed, are required to make a payment if they want through our Dropbox or online. And so I really appreciate consideration for continuation of that policy. And with that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Long first, and then I'll have Commissioner Powell following.
Okay, hi Andy, thank you. I think I have like a three-part question. So you're getting these foreclosures, not seeking, but they're coming back to the county of unpaid taxes for property taxes. And then that's what I'm asking, I guess, is that's how you're getting your the foreclosures is when they're coming back unpaid. And then another thing, are they going to be forgiven for 1 year? And then if that year, when that year is up, are you going to work on if they need to payment plans? So kind of threefold. I guess I'm asking, when you get something back, is that when you're getting, hey, they're delinquent, when you're getting it back from the municipality, that's when you know they fell delinquent, and then you're giving them forgiveness for up to how long? And then will you work on a payment plan with these folks that fell into that category?
May I ask, forgive me, may I ask some of the commissioners that are not muted to mute right now? We were getting some echo. Thank you.
Did you hear my question, Andy?
You know,
okay.
I think I got it, Commissioner, and thank you for the question. Yeah, so in Michigan, current year property taxes are paid to the local city, village, or township. They're going to be issuing those summer bills based on the current law on July 1st. And then there will be a winter bill in December. Under the law in Michigan, the current year property taxes are paid directly to your local city, village, or township. And then if those taxes are not paid as of March 1st in the next year, at that point, those property taxes become delinquent under the law, and they become payable to the county treasurer. So I think that addresses the first part of the question. The next part of, as I understood it, was about the timing. So we have in the state law the authority to quote unquote withhold a property from tax foreclosure. And yes, you're right. I think in the implication of your question, that if a property is withheld or pulled from foreclosure, that is the case for the year. And so under normal circumstances, March 31st would have been the deadline. And if there were any properties with outstanding payments, it would have been foreclosed. Now, again, that's notwithstanding Governor Whitmer's order to extend the redemption period deadline to May 28th. But I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that. And so this is the 2017 tax year that is subject to foreclosure in 2020 because it's a 3-year process. And had properties been withheld as they've been, then they would be subject to a deadline of March 31st, 2021, about a year from now. And in addition to the properties that we pulled because of coronavirus, we also pulled through many of the payment plans. And so if somebody agrees to get on a payment plan and works with us, we do withhold them for that basis as well. Commissioner, does that answer your question? I want to make sure I got all 3 parts.
Yes, that does. And I forgot it would be back from 2017. I always forget that. I know it's behind, but when you say that, it's like really hits like, whoa, 2017 taxes, you know? So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Powell followed by Commissioner Kowal.
Hey, Andy, question. So of course, my foreclosure list is the highest. And I just had questions. If any other constituents here, because, you know, we kind of individualize and, you know, would do everything in meeting form. If they have any questions or concerns or any worries, are they just to contact your office directly?
Yes, and thank you for that. And I want to be clear that our message to taxpayers hasn't been just, you know, you don't have to pay, don't worry about it. We're very passionate about our mission of financial empowerment. And so our whole staff is making outreach calls to all the taxpayers that have any outstanding delinquencies, including across Pontiac, which has borne a disproportionate brunt. And we want to make sure that they're in touch with us. And our counselors are helping people in Pontiac and across the district to continue to apply for the Step Forward program that can pay up to $30,000 of their delinquent property taxes. Our counselors are working with them on budgeting their stimulus and also, frankly, helping them to navigate the unemployment system. And if they've got a small business, helping them to apply for some of the grant and loan programs. If there's anybody out there that's watching and has any questions or can use the help of the county treasurer's office, I would share 2 phone numbers very quickly. The first one is mine, which is my cell phone, 248-421-ANDY. That's 248-421-2639. And then the other is of our lead counselor in our treasurer's office through our Financial Empowerment Center. Her name is Rita Nafso, and that number is 248-807-5287. Again, that's 248-807-5287. And we are talking to a lot of people across the county who are, you know, facing a lot of anxiety associated with the situation, a lot of anxiety about mortgage and rent payments, this unemployment situation. And so we really encourage folks to be in touch with our office, to talk about the situation, to be heard, and to develop a game plan for folks about how to get through this tough time.
Thank you. And now I have
Oh,
Commissioner.
I have one more request. Can that information you just shared with us be sent, if not already somewhere, or a link to let us know as commissioners where we can get that information so that we can also share it on our social media pages as well? So can y'all share that with, I think, Pamela, so she can get it to all of us, all commissioners?
Yes, we're happy to, as well as email for anybody that has digital connection, knowing that there are a lot of folks that are not connected. But we're happy to do that, and we appreciate the question. And we'll, Jody, can we shoot that over to Pam? Thanks.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Kowal next.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Andy. I think you kind of answered my first question, which was obviously this is not for anybody and everybody to take advantage of, that they must establish some kind of financial hardship. I'm sure you have a process for that. And these properties that you're talking about, the 138 in my district, they already were in foreclosure before the COVID, but I'm taking, obviously the situation is not making things any better for these people. And I imagine we'll probably see an uptake or an uptick in the amount of the back taxes and properties going into foreclosure. So if you could comment on that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah, that number would have been folks that were on course to be tax foreclosed, but were pulled as a result of this policy or of a working out a payment plan, with our office. And in terms of trying to look a little bit around the corner to see what we expect, I think that it's very likely that a significant number of our residents are going to have difficulty paying their July summer tax bill to their local government. If that is a problem for them and they don't pay by March 1st, notwithstanding some change in law, then they would be on the delinquent tax process. And I do think that those numbers will go up, although I think that we should work together to creatively think about other ways that we could short circuit it. And as to your other point, Commissioner, we are being very clear in telling folks that these delinquent taxes, they just don't go away, that they're still there, and it's still an obligation. And that anybody that thinks that they want to take advantage, is not doing themselves any favors. And so they're still have, if they have the ability to continue to make the monthly payments that they've made, then we want them to do that. And there is state law imposed interest that under the current framework continues to accrue. And so it's like any of these bills, they're not going to go away. If you got a real hardship from coronavirus, we get it. If you lost your job or you're facing a serious hardship. But I appreciate the question, Commissioner. And, as ever, we have an eye out for anybody that may seek to try to game the system.
Do I have any other questions? Commissioner Quarles.
Good morning, Mr. Treasurer.
Morning.
Yeah. Does this program apply to small commercial businesses? And what I'm thinking about, I have a number of business owners that are in the process of purchasing their facility, and similar to homeowners, they're facing crisis right now. And I was just wondering, I know you're speaking to residential, and of course that's what the subject matter was for this, but is there anything being looked at for the smaller business owners and their facilities that they own?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. And the policy extends beyond just houses and does include commercial and industrial property. And we have a written policy on it that is on the website at ogov.com/treasurer. Those properties that you described would be included in the policy, provided two things. One, that the challenges that they're having right now are because of the coronavirus crisis and not some other factor. And two, that those properties that you talked about, Commissioner Quarles, do not represent a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. And I would assume that that is the case of these parcels, but if you would care to share the addresses or parcel ID numbers, we could confirm for you. But I'm quite certain that the properties you talked about are being withheld as a result of our common sense policy at this time.
Okay, thank you. Several of the properties are Dairy Queen shops and restaurants. And there are others I can share there.
But those are withheld. And as we looked at putting together a policy that made sense, we obviously care deeply about families saving their homes, but we also have a great love of our small businesses. And we're mindful of the great hardship that small businesses are going through as a result of closure and economic constriction to address the public health crisis that is first and foremost our responsibility. And so I wanted to help the small businesses as well. That's why they're included in the policy. And that's why our team is also doing everything we can to connect those small businesses with available resources. And I want to thank the Commission for replenishing the Small Business Stabilization Fund with the additional $12 million, which I think is a important step. And this policy will help them focus on getting through and then managing their bills as cash flow permits.
Do I have other questions here? Commissioner McGilvray.
Just a comment. Thanks, Mr. Meisner, for your presentation. It was very thorough. And to you and your staff, thank you for thinking of the residents and small businesses to help them so that they can save their homes. You're doing a fine job. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate your kind words and your partnership.
So I would also like to echo, I do thank you and your team for what you're doing for our residents. But in the future, I would appreciate that we're the liaison committee, that you bring these changes to us proactively as communication. This is an important issue that we need to know about change of policy and how it impacts our residents. So in the future, I hope that you'll bring it to us. So I don't have to read about it in the newspaper, but I think I support it. I think you're doing a great job in servicing our residents in this important area. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Any other items to come before the committee? Yes. We need to have a motion to receive and file. Okay. Commissioner Long with Commissioner McGilvray supporting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition say no, nay. Motion carries to receive and file. Any other business to come before finance and infrastructure? Seeing none, we're going to end the committee, and I want to thank everybody. You were great for our first virtual finance and infrastructure. And I do want to talk about time of the next meeting. So we Commissioner Powell, you are muted.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is proper protocol for any deputy director to bring us information? Do we request it or are they to bring it to us? Because I didn't see it go both ways. So I just want to be fair across the board with any of our deputy directors.
It is.
I mean,
it
not our
is-
deputies, our elected officials that lead our
It is
department.
totally an open door policy, you know, is that they bring things to us, we ask for things. So, you know, I welcome feedback and welcome that communication. This was an important discussion for all of us to have. These are important services for our residents. So
Okay,
I welcome.
I just brought that up because of the last statement you made, because I've seen it come both ways. And just to make it as if, because you found it in the newspaper and he didn't bring it to us, we didn't did it both ways. So I just thought that was a irrelevant comment. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Do you want to comment, Treasurer Meisner?
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say that I greatly value communication. You know, we respect the Finance Committee's role as our partner, and appreciate that the protocol going forward will be to, you know, give each other a heads up about you know, things that may affect my department or you know, that you guys are doing. And so that would be a welcome change, and understanding your interest and hearing about that. We'll make sure that we're in regular communication, and trust that you, of course, will do the same, which, as was noted, you know, has not been the case. And so I welcome that change in policy and think that it best serves our mutual constituents.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? So I do want to discuss time of this meeting. We set it at 10 a.m. because there was another operational meeting earlier that is no longer happening. How many people on this committee do you want to go back to our 9:30 time? Do you like the 10 o'clock time? What would you like to do? How many people? Okay.
9:30.
I prefer 9:30 as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, 9:30 is fine with me. Doesn't matter. 9:30 is fine with me too.
9:30 is fine with me.
Sounds like the majority said 9:30, so I'll stick with what everybody else.
I think so. Okay.
Any other? Okay, so we're gonna go back to 9:30. I see the majority of people chiming in for 9:30. Is that okay with everybody? Okay,
Yes.
thumbs up. Okay, so, meeting adjourned until 2 weeks from now at